So find your comfortable seated position and just roll your shoulders back and down a few times. Make any movements that feel good, whether it's rolling the shoulders back and down or squeezing them up to the ears and releasing. Maybe having a yawn or a stretch. And then just see if you can soften the gaze or close the eyes. And just breathe in and out of the nose. And just take a moment to not change the breath or alter it in any way. Just focusing on that steady inhalation and exhalation. And just allow yourself this time to let go of your day, whether it's been a beautiful day or a busy day, a stressful day. Just allow yourself to let all of that go and just focus on being here on your mat, in your room, in your house. And the new moon is about reflecting, tuning in, recharging and creating vision for the cycle ahead. So we're going to be focusing a lot on intentions, mantras, and sometimes just a simple word that we want to set as our intention can be so beneficial, just to allow ourselves to really focus on that intention, allowing everything else just to soften and fade. Good. And if it feels comfortable, just keep the hands on the knees or thighs, or place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. And just take a moment to see where you feel this breath resonate most, whether it's in the chest or whether it's in the belly. And if one feels particularly dominant, just take note of that. Don't change anything just yet. And we're going to be coming to Durga breath. So this is 3 sips of breath. In through the nose, pausing after each one, and then exhaling as long and slow as we can. So your next breath, just contract the belly, release all the breath from the body. And then breathe for 1 count into that space in the belly. So breathe in for 1 and pause. Breathe into that space in the chest for 2 and pause. And breathe into the full body. Pause. And then exhale as long and slow as you possibly can through the nose. Make sure there's no tension in the jaw, the tongue, the forehead. Repeating this cycle. Inhale for 1 count into the belly. 2 into the chest. 3 full body. And exhale long and slow. Again, contracting the belly, releasing the breath. Inhale for 1 count. Pause. For 2. Pause. For 3. Pause. And exhale long and slow. Seeing how long you can draw this breath out. Inhale for 1. Inhale for 2. Inhale for 3. And exhale long and slow. Good. Carry on this 2 more times in your own time, in your own rhythm. And see how focused you can be with the mind. Can you allow yourself to really focus on these 3 sips of breath? And then seeing how long and slow you can measure out that exhalation. Good. And when you've completed your second cycle of breath, just exhale all the breath out of the body and place the hands back onto the thighs, palms facing down. Feel free to wiggle or move here if you're feeling any tension in the spine or the shoulders. See if you just keep the eyes closed or with that low gaze for a few moments longer. So now focusing here, see if you can draw your mind to that space in between the eyebrows. And this is our third eye center. And the place which is known to guide our wisdom or intuition. So we're going to be focusing on this space when we set our intentions. So planting that seed of intention, just see if we can slow down, reflect, and tune within directly to this place in between the eyebrows. And looking ahead at this next lunar cycle, seeing what you'd like to invite into this next period of your life. How do you want to feel in this next lunar cycle? What would you like to bring into your life? And what is your focus for your well-being? So maybe just answering one of those questions. How would you like to feel? What would you like to bring into your life? What is your focus for your well-being? If you find that you've got a few things that you'd like to have as your intention, maybe just see which one feels a little more dominant this evening. And maybe just shorten it to one word so you can make it a simple mantra. And if it's like you'd like to invite more creativity into your life, then maybe just having that word in the mind. If you'd like to invite more self-worth, then maybe thinking of a mantra such as I am. So seeing now if you can take your intention and just shorten it to a simple mantra that can help reflect how you feel, what you'd like to invite. If you're unsure of what you'd like to invite, then maybe just focusing on your self-worth, on your loving kindness towards yourself, and a mantra such as I am enough, I am worthy, I am loved. Any of these mantras are really beautiful. And when you decided, we're going to inhale, draw the hands up towards the ceiling, growing nice and tall, really engage into tips of fingers. Inhale. Keep the eyes closed. Exhale, come into prayer mudra in front of the heart. Doing this 2 more times. Inhale, sweep the arms out nice and wide. Exhale, down the center line of the body, keeping the eyes closed. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. This time, draw the hands down in front of the heart, blinking open the eyes. Keeping that intention with you. Good. From here, inhale, take the hands back up and towards the ceiling, coming to a nice gentle twist. Inhale. And then exhale, right hand comes over towards the outside of the left thigh. And then gazing over that right shoulder. Pausing there. Twist and release. Good. Inhale, come back to center, hands up and above the body. And exhale, over to the other side, gazing over that left shoulder. Allow any tension in the spine to soften. Good. Inhale, come back to center, hands up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, take your left hand down towards the ground, leaning over towards your left hand side. And see if you can roll that right shoulder back so you can think of your chest revolving up towards the ceiling. I just spotted a little spider on my floor. Hello, spider. Inhale, come back to center. And then exhale to the other side. So walking that right hand as far away as feels comfortable, which allows you to keep your sitting bones down. So really stretching through the side of the rib cage. See if you can take your chest slightly up towards the ceiling. Good. On your next inhale, come back to center. Good. And then from here, just have the hands on either side of the body. Walk the fingertips as far away from you as possible, and then take your head over towards your right hand side, stacking the ear over the shoulder. And if you'd like to make this a little more intense, then just maybe lift this left hand off the ground. And again, really think of extending your left hand out towards the side, engaging all the way into tips of fingers. That can feel quite strong, so just come here if it feels good. Good. When you're ready, come to the other side. Softly take your head over towards the left, walking those fingertips. And if you're ready, then maybe lifting that right hand off the ground and really extending into the very tips of fingers. Gorgeous, good. On your next breath, softly come back to center. From here, we're going to stay in your seated position, but just see if you can shuffle your feet slightly further forward, and then heel toe your heels directly, if you can, in front of the knees. So we're coming into square pose. So seeing if you can take your shins slightly further out, and then just wiggle the heels so they're about in line with the knees. Good. From here, we're going to place your fingertips out in front of you. Have a breath and roll the shoulders back. Inhale. And as you exhale, then just walking the hands forward to wherever feels good for you. So you might find that you're completely down on the ground with the elbows. If you want a little bit more in the outer edges of this hip, then you can even think about just shuffling that front foot slightly further over towards that knee, depending on which foot you've got out in front of you first. So just softening here in this square pose is really nice for the outer edges of the hip and for the hamstrings, the very top of the hamstrings. Good. Have one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, slowly coming back up to center and swapping sides. So whichever leg was in front, just take it behind. Again, take a moment to get comfortable. See if you can wiggle that front foot so it's about in line with that knee. And then when you're ready, inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Walking those hands out in front of you. And softening down. Just noticing how this side feels. Good. And on your next breath, softly coming back to center. Good. And just rolling those shoulders back. We're going to do one more exercise here in our seated position. So holding onto the knees, we're going to inhale, just roll the shoulders back, take the chin and the chest up towards the ceiling, breathing in. And then exhale, sit back onto the tailbone, straighten the arms, but hold on to the front of the shins so you can really sink back in this seated cat-cow. Inhale, roll shoulders back, chest shining forwards. And exhale, scooping the belly, arching the spine, tucking the chin in towards the chest. Good, doing this one more time. Inhale, roll shoulders back, chest shining forwards. And exhale, arching the body back. Good. From here, just roll those shoulders back, being back to a seated position. And just releasing. Good. So we're going to be making our way to our first yin posture. So if you know that you need any pillows or blankets, then you're welcome to grab these now. We're going to be starting with half shoelace or full shoelace. So I just like you to take your left leg out in front of you. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift your right leg and take it all the way over onto the outer edge of that left hip. So the right foot is on the outer edge of the left hip. So from here, your left leg is extended at the moment, and this is half shoelace. If you'd like to come to full shoelace, then just lift your right bum cheek off the ground, and then take your left foot out onto the outer edge of the right side of the hip. So we're making this nice crisscross with the legs, and we're trying to get the knees as close together as we can. Some people quite like to lift onto the feet and really squeeze those knees together and then take the tailbones back down. So if that feels good for you, then maybe just put your weight onto the ankles or the feet. See if you can squidge those knees together and then take the sitting bones back down. But we want to make sure both sitting bones are connected towards the ground. So either have that left leg out in front of you or come to full shoelace. From here, we're going to start with Garuda arms. So taking the arms out in front of you, crossing the right above the left. We're going to either hold onto the shoulders, if that feels good, or take the backs of the hands together, or maybe come to the full wrap by holding the palms together. So whichever feels good for you. When you're here, just see if you can roll those shoulders back and down away from the ears, and then maybe take the elbows so they're a little higher in line with the shoulders. So just see how that feels to begin with. And just having a couple breaths, really focusing on that space in between the shoulders. Good. From here, we're going to have one more breath. Inhale. And then as you exhale, we're going to be tipping forwards, either in your half or full shoelace. And in this nice twisted position, you can either rest the elbows onto the knees, or if this feels quite comfortable for you, if you're quite flexible in the hips, you might even find that you can take your elbows over the knees down towards the ground. If you don't feel comfortable here with this twisted position in the arms, then you're more than welcome just to release the hands down towards the ground. So whichever feels good for you, you can always start in one and then change. So whichever feels good. We're going to be here for about 3 minutes, so you need to see where you can find that mindful edge. So always working towards finding that space that we can soften and release without too much tension or trouble. And you should be feeling this hopefully on the outer edge of the right hip predominantly, maybe even traveling up the glute and towards the top of the hamstring. It's a really great one, a really good one, the piriformis, which is that deep muscle within the glute. And I was actually reading a lot about the piriformis this afternoon. And it can be commonly mistaken with sciatica. So it's a similar sort of pain when you get this real tightness in the glutes linked with the piriformis. So this is a really nice release for the bum and the top of the hamstrings. If you find that you're getting any tingling in the fingers or you're not enjoying the eagle arms, then you're welcome to soften now for this second half of this pose. And see if you can breathe in and out through the nose and just draw your mind back to your intention, back to your mantra. See if you can focus on your mantra with the breath. Maybe allowing your inhale to invite your mantra. As you inhale, maybe focusing on that word or couple words. And as you exhale, really allow it to sit in the body, really allow it to resonate. As we inhale, we're inviting this fresh energy, fresh breath, this new intention. And as we exhale, we're releasing what we don't need in this next period of our lives. Good. Making this your final breath. Inhale. And then exhale very slowly. Start to come up to seated. I gave you a bonus 15 seconds there. So when you're ready, roll the shoulders back. Slowly unwind the legs. Have the feet out in front of you. And just take the feet as wide as the mat. So come into window wipers. Maybe just lift one side of the hip up to the ceiling and the other. Just notice how the body feels after that pose, our shoelace pose. This is always a really good time to check in with the body. Maybe have a little sigh. Release any tension through the spine, the shoulders, the neck. And when you're ready, we'll come onto the other side. So have your right leg out extended. And then lifting your left leg, taking the left foot onto the outer edge of the right hip. And then staying here if you're working into half shoelace. This is equally a really great pose to the outer edge of the left hip and the back of the hamstring on this right hand side. It's a good double whammy. Or if you want to go a little deeper in the hips, then seeing if you can take that right foot onto the outer edge of the left hip. And again, you are welcome to lift up onto the ankles, the feet. See if you can squidge those knees together and then take the bum back down towards the ground. Generally, the further forward you have your feet, the deeper you'll feel the stretch and the easier you'll feel it if you draw the feet in towards the body. So just find some comfort. If you're lifting up on one bum cheek and you want to place a blanket or a pillow underneath there, that's always a nice idea as well. When you're ready, roll those shoulders back, swoop the arms forward, this time left elbow stacked over right, either holding onto the shoulders or coming to your Garuda eagle arms. And just taking a moment here to roll those shoulders back. See if you can find some space between the shoulders and the ears. And then lifting the elbows slightly so they're in line with the shoulders. And having a moment to, again, really feel that width created at the top of the spine, spanning the shoulders. Maybe releasing any tension in the neck. Inhale. And as you exhale, tipping forwards. Option to have the elbows onto the knees, or maybe slide them down in front of the knees, so whichever feels good for you. You can release the Garuda arms if you don't want them in this pose. If you need a little bit more support by holding onto the floor. And just seeing how soft and meditative you can make this pose. Notice how this side feels. Coming back to our thoughts of the new moon, using this faith and optimism in our intention to allow ourselves to really believe and use our intuition when we're focusing on our mantra. And this is the same sort of idea of having that leap of faith. So in spite of not being able to see the new moon, it's a blackless sky. We still have that faith in our intention, in our mantra. How would you like to feel? What would you like to invite into your life? What is your focus for your well-being? And just seeing if you can soften further here. Don't feel stuck if you need to rearrange. Just find that comfortable position. And just inviting some stillness and softness for this final 30 seconds. If the mind starts to wander, draw it back to the breath. Good. Having one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, softly pressing into the hands, coming back to center. When you're ready, take the hands behind you, extend the feet out in front as wide as the mat. And again, just rocking the pelvis from side to side. Maybe sigh release. Make any movements that feel good. Maybe sway the head from side to side. Close the eyes. Good. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. When you're ready, come back to center. And we're going to be coming to the long side of your mat. So just shuffle onto one side, and we're going to be coming to dragonfly. So keeping one leg where it is, see if you can take a nice wide stance by swinging the other leg out to the side. So for here, you can have either something underneath the bum to lift the pelvis slightly. You can keep the knees bent with the feet down if that's more comfortable. Or if you're quite comfy, then just really think about flexing the feet, sliding those legs slightly wider, and maybe just tilting forward slightly in the pelvis. So making sure that we can wiggle a little bit here, we can roll the shoulders back. Good. So we're going to start by taking your right hand out towards the side. Have it just in front of the shin. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale, take your left hand up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, walk that hand over towards the foot. So coming to a nice side lean. And we're thinking about extending this left hand over towards the toes. So we feel again our chest is revolving up towards the ceiling. So you're welcome to keep this hand lifted. It might feel like it'll get a little tired after a while, but it's a really good place to start so you can feel this gentle twist. So we're just really coming into this lean here. So when you feel like you've got that there, when you feel enough release in the hamstrings, then you can take that lifted hand down towards the ground. If you feel any tension in the neck, you can use a pillow underneath the head. You can use your elbow holding onto the head with the hand. Whichever feels good for you, just as long as you've got this nice release down the side of the body and into the hamstring. Maybe allowing yourself to close the eyes or take the gaze down towards the ground. And you might find that after a few breaths, you can go a little deeper, depending on where you hold tension in the body. It might be that you find this particularly tough to begin with, and then you're able to really release and enjoy this pose after a little while. And sometimes it takes just breaking through those first few moments to allow ourselves to really enjoy and soften into these poses. And it's normally these poses that we actually need most, the ones that feel sort of the toughest to begin with. And for me, that's any forward fold. I always find particularly tough to begin with. But actually, I know it's exactly what I need to work on. So see if you can find your edge, your space. Good. Having one more breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to walk the hands directly out in front of you, coming to your central point here. So now we're directly folding out in front of you. Again, if you need to bend the knees, don't worry, you're more than welcome to. You're welcome to sway or move, to allow the head to yes and no, or draw circles, whichever feels good. And we're just going to be here for a minute in this central fold. So maybe seeing if you want to walk the hands slightly further forward. Finding that space. Good. Have one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Finally walking over to the opposite side. So walking your hands over towards the left-hand side. Keeping that left hand down. Inhale, extend the right hand up towards the ceiling. Feeling this long stretch down the side of the body. And when you found this release through the side of the body with your chest shining up towards the ceiling, then decide if you'd like to keep this hand floated here, or maybe take it down towards the ground if you'd like a slightly more restorative pose, so you're not holding on to any tension in the spine. If you'd like to place a pillow, you've got a bolster, you can always place this vertically down to prop the head up. You can always hold onto the head, just using the elbow down towards the thigh, or maybe even just taking the gaze down towards the ground. So still finding that you're rolling this right shoulder back and down so you feel this nice side release. And pausing there. Good. Draw your mind back to your intention. Back to the new moon, this dark sky, filled with possibility, with wonder, with new beginnings. And if you'd like to go slightly deeper, then maybe take this opportunity to slide that left hand maybe further towards the heel. Maybe see if you can roll that left shoulder back and down, sorry, right shoulder back and down slightly more. Have one more breath. Inhale. And final time, exhale, walk the hands out in front of you. One final minute here. Really sinking down into your dragonfly. Find your mindful edge here. Find that space. That space you'd like to create for new possibilities. Maybe using that slight discomfort as a way of shedding, releasing, creating that new space, and then coming back to that intention, allowing that intention to fill the body, to create that new space, to fill it with your fresh possibilities, your mantra. Good. Having one more breath. Inhale. And exhale, softly pressing into the hand, coming up to center. We've been here a while, so maybe just holding under the knees. Draw those knees back together. And again, just have them out in front of you. You can come to window wipers, so just lifting one heel, lifting one side of the hip, sorry, up towards the ceiling, and then the other. Just noticing how the legs feel. Good, and we've done quite a few forward folds here, so we're going to be just working now into the spine. So when you're ready, we're going to roll over onto the knees and come to your tabletop position. If you need to place a blanket underneath the knees to make it slightly more comfortable, then you're more than welcome to. And then when you're ready, we're going to be coming to full melting heart. So we're going to extend both hands out in front of you and then see where it feels comfortable for you to lower the chest down towards the ground. Now, if this feels too much, you're welcome to place anything underneath the chest that you need to make it slightly higher, or you can come to a wide-legged child's pose and maybe think about coming onto the very tips of the fingers just to allow there to be some space for the chest to sink down towards the ground. So whichever feels good for you, coming into melting heart, just placing the elbows down can sometimes be a nice, gentle variation there. And with each exhalation, just see if you can really release that tension in the spine, that tension through the chest, the shoulders. And we're just going to be here for 2 minutes. So see how soft you can make this pose. If it doesn't feel good at any point, just come back to your child's pose. Or maybe make that stance slightly shorter between the knees and the hands. See how meditative you can make this pose, how soft and gentle. And just see what the breath is doing at this point. Maybe see if you can really allow the breath to come deep into the belly so you feel that full expansion of the belly in this pose. Really allowing the chest and the heart to open and release. Good. Just have one more breath here. Inhale. And then exhale. We're going to walk the hands back towards the knees so you can come down to your child's pose. So take the tailbone down towards the heels, the forehead towards the floor. And either keep the hands extended out in front of you, or take the hands to either side of the legs, just allowing the shoulders to sink and release down towards the ground. So really feeling that expansion, that breath at the back of the body. Good. Have one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. From here, just place the hands down, coming up towards your tabletop position. We're going to be lowering down onto the belly. So when you're ready, just lower the belly completely down and come to your Sphinx pose. So we're going to have the elbows underneath the shoulders, hands directly out in front of you. If this feels too strong, then just take those elbows slightly further forward. So there should be little to no grip in the hands. You can give your hands a little wiggle, your fingers a wiggle. And when you're ready, just roll the shoulders back and really feel the chest shining forwards. Almost imagine you can scoop the belly button up towards the top of the mat. So it's quite an active pose, yin pose. We also want to really notice that space between the shoulders and the ears. If you'd like this to be slightly stronger, then you might want to think about taking the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. And that'll make it feel a little stronger there if you're actively pressing out of the shoulders, so you're lifting the shoulders away from the ears. This is a really nice release for the lower back. So find your comfortable position. And then see if you can pause there. Maybe see if you can close the eyes or take the gaze down towards the ground. Notice if there's any tension in the shoulders. Maybe see if you can release the jaw, the tongue. And then draw your mind back to that space between the eyebrows. Just see if you can really relax the muscles of the forehead. If your variation of this pose is becoming a little too strong after this time, then you're welcome to readjust. If this is too much, you're welcome to lower down completely to the ground. This is always a sneaky one. It always feels okay to start off with. If you need to wiggle or move, just listen to how your body feels this evening. Work with your intuition, with your mantra, your intention, inviting into the body what feels good. Good. Having one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale. From here, we're softly going to come back and down towards the belly. Taking the side of the face down towards the mat. Have the hands to either side with the palms facing up. So you're really allowing your shoulders to relax down towards the ground. You might even be able to tap in with the heartbeat down towards the earth. This can feel quite nice. Just to wiggle the pelvis from side to side as well if that feels good. So have a moment here in your crocodile pose. Allowing the whole body to be soft. Good. And then when you're ready, just have the hands back underneath the shoulders. From here, we're going to press up towards a table position. And we're going to be coming into swan pose. So from here, we're going to start with the right leg. Draw the right knee up towards the right thumb. And then allow the foot to come over towards the left-hand side. From here, we can slide that left leg back. So we're coming into your pigeon pose, which is in Hatha Yoga, or swan, as it's called in Yin. And from here, if you want to go slightly deeper, then you can think about lifting this foot slightly up closer towards the top of the mat, and then seeing if you can rock back forward so you're nice and parallel. So you're thinking of this left hip as also shining forward and not out to the side. From here, just have the hands out in front of you. We're going to be coming to sleeping swan. So have an inhale here, roll the shoulders back, chest shining forwards. And as you exhale, just lower the body down towards the ground, pausing where feels good. So if this feels too strong, then maybe keeping onto the hands, maybe extending all the way down towards the ground. And a complete alternative to this pose, stay here if you're already here and you're comfortable, or an alternative would be figure four pose. So just coming onto the back, taking that right foot onto the left thigh, and then drawing that left leg in towards the chest. So if that feels more comfortable, then you're more than welcome to come to that alternative. Otherwise, stay here in your swan pose. Find what feels good. Just notice where the mind goes. And you might find different poses invite different emotions. You might feel quite fiery to begin with, but then maybe you're able to invite some of this lunar energy, this yin energy into your practice. If the mind starts to wander, draw it back to your breath. Draw it back to your intention. Have faith in yourself being here. Have faith in your intention. Good. Having 2 more deep breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Softly pressing into the hands. Coming back to your child's pose. Just sliding that right leg back. If it feels good, maybe inviting a wide-legged child's pose just by taking the knees as wide as the mat and the tailbone down towards the heels. If it feels nice, you might also want to come into those very tips of fingers just to allow the chest to open slightly towards the ground for a nice counterbalance. Make any movements that feel good. Sway the body from side to side. Rock the head or draw any circles. Maybe have a sigh and release out of the mouth. And on your next breath, inhale, coming up to your tabletop position. And then when you're ready, this time drawing that left knee up towards the left thumb. Allow the foot to come over towards the right hand side and then sliding that right leg back. If you found that figure 4 was better for you, then you're welcome to flip over onto the back and come to that position instead. Otherwise, maybe see what feels good for you with tucking this foot in, or thinking of it drawing slightly further up towards the front of the mat. From here, inhale, roll shoulders back, chest shining forwards. And exhale, find your variation here, find a comfortable pose. Good. Maybe rocking from side to side, maybe just allowing yourself to soften here. This could be really strong if you hold a lot of tension in the hips and in the glutes. If you've been doing lots of running or squats, or alternatively, you've been sat a lot, you've been driving a lot, you can hold a lot of tension here. So find what feels good for you this evening. And see how patient and soft you can be with yourself. It can be quite a challenge mentally, Yin, because we're not using any fast movements, we're not using any distractions to keep the mind busy. We really have to focus on the mind itself. We have to really focus on being here with ourselves, and that can be a real challenge. So just seeing where the mind's at, how soft and patient you can be with yourself. If it feels good, you might want to go slightly deeper. If you want to edge off, then feel free to do so. And then breathe as slow and steady as you can, in and out through the nose. Release the jaw, release the tongue. Release that space in between the eyebrows. And have 2 more deep breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. From here, softly press into the hands. When you're ready, come back to your child's pose. Wide-legged if that's what you came to before. Maybe come over to the tips of those fingers, allowing the chest to soften and open towards the ground. Maybe softly swaying from side to side. Good. Have a good breath here. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. When you're ready, softly coming up to seated. And then just swing the legs out in front of you, lowering down to your Shavasana. So having the feet out in front of you, making some space behind you. If it feels good, you might want to just draw some twists into your practice before coming to Shavasana. Or if you're ready for Shavasana, you're welcome to make your way there. Otherwise, just have the hands out to either side. Inhale with the knees in towards the chest. And exhale, just allow the knees to fall over to one side. It doesn't matter which side first. Keeping the opposite shoulder down towards the ground. So just twisting any tension through the spine. And just staying here for a couple breaths. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Good. When you're ready, inhale, softly come back to center. And falling over towards the other side. Exhale. Keeping the opposite shoulder down. Twist and release the spine. This should feel really good. Pausing there. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Softly drawing the knees back to center. And then making your way to your full Shavasana, so feet as wide as the mat. Palms facing upwards. Keeping those shoulders down. And maybe just lifting the head and placing the head back down again so you can slightly tuck the chin. Maybe rocking the pelvis from side to side. And just imagine that someone's gently drawing your hands down towards the feet so you can really feel that space between the shoulders and the ears. And then find your comfortable position here, your active resting position. So actively being still, consciously not moving the body. Consciously drawing the mind in towards the body. And just take a moment to perhaps do a scan from the tips of the toes all the way up through the legs, the hips, the belly, the chest, the shoulders, the fingertips, the forearms, the upper arms, all the way into the jaw, the tongue, the cheekbones, eyebrows, forehead, top of the head, and maybe even crown of the head. So actively keeping still, but using the mind to just be aware of how each of these parts of the body feel. Really tuning in with the body, using this time to notice how we feel. And then when you're ready, just allowing yourself to focus on that space in between the eyebrows. Perhaps allow yourself to imagine a soft glow here, soft light. And this light can be visualized as your intention. And just allow this light or glow to grow. So you're creating more space between the eyebrows. You're allowing this intention to grow, to flood the whole body. And there's absolutely no tension in the face or forehead or jaw. And you can feel this positive energy just radiating through the body. Just keeping this feeling with you for these final few moments. If the mind starts to wander, draw it back to that space in between the eyebrows. Oh. When you're ready, softly start to draw some more awareness back into the body. Maybe rolling the ankles and wrists, scrunching the fingers and toes. Inviting in a full body stretch if that feels good for you. Taking the hands up and above the head, stretching the toes down towards the ground. And as you exhale, maybe draw those knees in towards the chest and softly rolling over to your left hand side, your calming yin side. From here, you're welcome to stay here as long as feels comfortable, or press into the hands and make your way up to seated. Make any movements that feel good, maybe swaying, rolling shoulders, rolling the neck. And when you're ready, just sit nice and tall. Find that space between the shoulders and the ears. Draw that crown of the head up towards the ceiling, feeling nice and strong in the spine. Just notice how you feel in these final few moments of softness and stillness. Maybe just inviting the corners of the mouth curl upwards so you feel this nice smile, positivity in the face. And when you're ready, inhale, take the hands up towards the ceiling, growing tall. And exhale, palms down the center line of the body, sealing in this practice, sealing in this intention. And thank you all so much for joining me this evening. Namaste. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this lunar new moon practice. It's a new space for me, so let me know that you heard everything okay and saw everything okay. But yes, thank you so much. It was so lovely. I really enjoyed it, apart from the spider running around.